What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Been a crazy night so far. So, uh, Coach Johnson should be joining us in a minute. He hit me up. Was like, "Hey, let's do a live stream." I'm always down to get on and talk to everybody. So, get everybody coming in. As you're coming in, let me know who is here, um, who you are, where you're from, where you coach, those type of things. You know how we roll with the check-ins. Make sure you check in with me. Dang, we got 7 folks coming on. Hey, it's Saturday night, man. Folks want to talk a little ball. Like I said, Coach Johnson will be on here in a little bit. Send him the link. Um, Nothing really planned right now, so I'm sure we'll get into a lot of different things. This will be very interactive as well. So if you want to, you have any questions or anything, hey, I'm struggling with this, Coach. You know, this off season, I've been studying some things. I want to know more about X, Y, and Z, or hey, what do you do? Or maybe some other guys might do some things that you might want to hear about. Let us know. There he is. What's going on?
What up, man? How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Always get on talk a little ball.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just kind of putting it out there, like, hey, guys come in, introduce themselves. Down here, interaction is always great. Uh, yeah, coach kind of hit me up, was like, hey, man, live stream? Heck yeah. I almost like doing live streams, not more than videos, but when you get the interaction live and guys are, asking questions or coming on and hitting us up, it's always good time. So,
Yeah, trying to get ready for next weekend, man. I feel like I've nothing bad about it. But I've just been teaching. I'm ready to talk some ball and and talk more football, man. I miss it.
Yeah, no doubt. For those that not sure what Coach is talking about, like we're doing, he's presenting at the Playbook Clinics here in Charlotte, North Carolina, next weekend. Coach is awesome. He's going to be able to talk. I'm going to be able to go and hang out, and not do anything but absorb knowledge. So definitely not as pressured on my end. So definitely 100% understand that, Coach.
Yeah, man. Excited about it. I think Playbook I've been following and messaging and talking with them, and it's been a hit, man. They've been doing a great job. I think the format they have is going to really make it a lot more dialogue with coaches instead of now you can go sit in a room that it's already kind of planned out and talk with the coach more. Instead of just going out and writing on a napkin. They're going to set up areas off to the left and the right and like for me, I have an open session that's talking about quarterbacks, and the instructions literally are come in the room, introduce yourself, and say, hey, what do y'all want to talk about? I mean, that's pretty cool right there. Instead of having a plan, you get to talk about what people need to hear about, which I think that's at the end of the day, that's a good 45 minutes. Instead, you go into a session, you have no idea what you're going to be, what you might hear, or, all that good stuff. So they're doing it big time, man. I watched a lot of videos, and it looks like it's going really well. And you look at the lineup of speakers across the country, and especially at the Charlotte one, it's the who's who of coaches. Minus Mitch Johnson. I don't know how I got into that, but somebody thought of something of me, or at least I was on their mind for a second whenever they asked for nominations. But I'll do my best, man. I'll do my best.
Well, the thing is, like if you look at the schedule, it's a lot of, I know a lot of people that are speaking, which makes it more attractive for me.
Yeah.
But you also have guys like Dub Maddox, like that's huge. If you don't know who Dub Maddox is, like what's going on? So
yeah,
having him come on and stuff like that, it'd be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, but like you said, guys, make sure you checking in. Got 6 guys on here. We had like 13 at one point. Hey, come hang out. If you want to come on and you want to talk with us, great. Shoot me you can post it in the chat or shoot me a DM on Twitter, and we'll definitely get you on here. But we're gonna kind of keep it loose. But kind of, Coach, what's been on your mind a little bit about football wise?
Oh man, for me, so just found out not gonna have an O-line coach, so I might be jumping down with the big boys. So that's been pretty exciting. So I've been kind of trying to freshen up on making sure that I dumb it down to make sure that our linemen are hearing the same lingo that they had last year. Because it doesn't matter, it's you want to make sure that you're just building off of it instead of having to switch up the lingo and the because everybody explains things differently. So that's kind of what I'm on right now, is making sure that the communication is the same way that they were getting last year for when I'm doing it this year. 'Cause I think we have skill guys and quarterbacks that can make things happen, but we all know you go as far as the trenches take you. Especially in North Carolina, when you look at who won the state championships, man, it's those guys that went in the trenches. So my big one is just getting really good at them blocking schemes against all the different fronts, and it doesn't matter what I know; it matters how I can communicate to those guys. So that's been a big one. I've watched some of your stuff, especially with counter and power, and just making sure that talking about combos, double teams, and and then the biggest one is how to go through an install and how to go through a walkthrough to make it easier. And I think that's the one thing that I'm excited about is I think I'll knock off the rust when I do that, when I get up on the board. And then when I get out there for a walkthrough, I think that will help a lot. Right now, you're just kind of like, oh, crap, I'm going down to O-line instead of just speaking to the quarterbacks and receivers, which I've been doing. But I think my dad's going to come and help out. So, he'll be doing the quarterbacks and receivers, but I also found a way with our practice schedule, how we're going to set it up, that I won't have too much away time from everybody. And then when our defense is going, I'll get one-on-one with our quarterback. So I think we'll figure it all out, and that's part of the name of the game, is how good you are at compared to your opponent. That's the big one. Who can handle the curveball and who can knock it out of the park. Nothing's ever easy, especially nowadays. So you know it, man. How about you?
Man, I'm good. I did Friday afternoon. I did a video with Coach Allen, who has a YouTube channel. He's dedicated to offensive line play, called Biggest Rule of the World.
Okay.
Been following him for a long time, so we'll do a little bit of a collaboration. I talked about counter. I did GT, and then I talked about bash and toss. All the good tags and stuff like that. And then he's going to come on in a couple of weeks and do an inside zone one for me on my channel. So
Okay.
really, just trying to, bust out these videos, man. I think you have, you're talking about yourself and the Powerade, and you jump onto some different things, and it's great. For me, myself, I have guys hitting me up like, "Hey, coach, I'm a youth coach in, Wisconsin, and I'm trying to keep it like super simple for young kids. So like, I'm trying to figure out how I can gauge. Hey, this is for like more high school and for more youth. So I think I might start talking about different things that maybe even youth guys, because I think for me, gap scheme is real simple.
Yes.
Gap down backer. I need to elaborate on what those mean, and how, different rules for different fronts, for like, even for the smallest levels, of football. So doing different videos like that. And then I think in March, I'll be doing more offensive line stuff with my own guys, some board install, and then getting outside and just working with them. And I want to be able to actually film my drills. I think that'll be huge. I thought about, and I thought I was looking idiot doing it, but having my wife film me kind of like demonstrating, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm just like, hey, I'm having my test dummies, and hey, guys, you're doing my drills, and I'm gonna be filming you, and my guys were super excited about it. So I think doing that as well, because a lot of guys want to see drill stuff, right? And they want to see coaching points. And while I'm, filming or having somebody film me coaching them, hey, what are my key points that I'm trying to give out? What are my, my buzzwords, for lack of a better term, while I'm sitting there coaching guys? I think that's huge, because drills, everybody can use a drill, right? It might be great drill, might be, a drill you can tweak, but not everybody's going to run inside zone. Not everybody's going to run, snag, but everybody can take some drills and tweak it to their kids. And I think that's kind of like the next evolution coming up in this spring, is getting more drill stuff live with the players. And I think that'll be kind of cool.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I just recorded my mesh video, and that's what I talked to it. That's what a big point was. All these schemes and everything and concepts sound uh, amazing. But if you don't know how to drill it and you don't work and practice it, it doesn't mean crap. And mesh is the main one. If you just throw that as in your playbook and you don't have the drill work to get your receivers and your quarterbacks on the same page, and they're not getting those live bullets thrown at them, they're not gonna get any better. So I agree, man. That drill work is probably more important than the scheme itself, because if the coaches know how to scheme it up and you can explain enough to them and then they do all the work in the drill and it becomes muscle memory, then you're golden. And so no, I think that's great, man. I think that you and your team will be just fine. You guys went through year one, now you're going to that year two. Everybody kind of knows what to expect. A new head coach, but I think that you're on the right track, man. It's not all about the concepts and the scheme. You got to know how to drill it and how to explain it and make sure that they understand it. That was the biggest one going back through our season and reviewing film is, man, how much better we got as the season went. And it's just name of the game with this generation, man. They got to know the why. And once they know the why, it clicks really well. So,
yeah. And that's one big thing I love doing is, like, I show the whole play. And I know it's not anything new, but I know some guys have told me, like, hey, man, I just try to, it's really bigger schools. They're like, hey, if we have 15, 20 guys in a varsity offensive line group, like, hey, I have my tackles and I have my guards and I have guys that can play center, right? And I don't cross train. I'm like, well, like that's 100% great and fine for guys that have plenty of guys. But what I do is, like, I teach them the whole play. If you can play one side, you can play the other. And I explain to them where the ball's going. I explain to them, where the ball's supposed to hit. And I feel like that just helps them understand, hey, if I'm on a double team here and the ball's supposed to hit A gap, okay, I need to work my double team this way, knowing the ball might hit here to here. And if you just say, hey, double team to the backside linebacker, or on zone, double to the play side linebacker, like, all right, we'll try to move this guy here. But if they don't know where the ball is going to go, they can't position their bodies in such a way that helps the running back. Like, I know a lot of guys are like, don't put your butt in the hole. I tell my guys to put the butt in the hole. I don't care. It's the running back's job to get through the hole. You put your butt in the hole and shield the defensive lineman from making the tackle. Because so many times, at least in my experience, what I've seen is guys say, don't tell them to put their butts in the hole. We try to stay square. We don't turn. And then guys D linemen are putting an arm on the running back as they're going by. Might not make the tackle, but it's slowing them down. And linebackers are rallying to the ball. But if we can, in my mind, if we can, get around and shield them off, now the D lineman can't do anything. Now we're full speed through the hole to the linebackers. Good luck making a tackle on that in such tight space. So that's something that I work as well. Some guys do, some guys don't.
And I think with the big boys, man, you don't want them thinking too much. And I think you're hearing it more and more as every coach speaks, is however you can keep the scheme the same for the line so they're not having to think, then the better off you're going to be. So kind of like what you just said is, man, have you how you want them to do it, but don't make them think too much, man. They're like, oh, my butt's in the hole. Oh crap! I'm like, no, just get to who you're supposed to get to and know your angles and know what the purpose of the play or where it's going to hit, and you'll be fine. I think we're not in college. We don't get all these hours with these guys. Keep it simple. Like I saw somebody posted already on that was, just keeping it simple. That's what you got to do for these linemen, man. Don't make them think, because if they're playing fast, they're going to lead your offense down the field. So that's good stuff.
Yeah. I feel like what Coach Rice said, he started giving 2 quizzes 2 weeks ago on gap scheme. Coach, I would love to hear what your quizzes look like. Is it all verbal, like they're getting on the board and doing it? Is it like some type of a Google Classroom where they're answering questions? Because I've done both of those. Especially when I was at a bigger school, we would do quizzes. Like, hey, I would teach on the board and have them do repetition on the board as well. But then I would go as far as to, hey, I would have a test they go and they take with recognition, like, hey, this is what our combos are called. This is what we would call here. This is where this is what this play is. Backside, play side, all those different things, and then I would see just a knowledge level. I can care less if you fail it. Great, I need to teach it a little better. So those type of things. So, Coach Rice, I'd love to hear what you're doing with your quizzes. I think quizzing the guys is good, even if it's just like a pop quiz. Like, hey, what is this? And see if they can tell you on the fly. It doesn't have to be anything official.
Yeah, just like I have our left tackle in my fourth period. So on Friday, I was like, all right, man, we run inside zone left, and they got a 5 tech. What are you doing? He goes, Coach, I'm basing them. I'm taking them anywhere he wants except for inside me. I was like, all right, good. All right, now if we're running inside zone right away from you, he was like, all right, Coach, I'm letting that 5 go, and I'm getting to the backer. And I was like, all right, but what if you have somebody into your gap? He was like, well, me and the guard are going to combo up to the backer, and I'm going to go to the backer. I was like, all right, man. I was like, good. I was like, you're smarter than you look. I was happy that I remember that. And he was just like, Coach, you going to ask me about how to run dart? And I was like, man, that's because you're pulling. I was like, that's the only one you're the only puller on that. Of course, And I was like, so what are you going to do, though, when they come to you? He's like, it's just like an inside zone rules. I'm blocking them out. And I was like, okay, all right. I was like, there we go. We're cooking with some grease, man. I was so that's kind of what I do with our guys is I kind of do that verbal stuff whenever I see them, just ask them questions. I don't do anything formal with doing quizzes and stuff like that because, man, when it's football time, I'm trying to get that out of the teaching part, man. We just trying to win some ball. And because, man, these guys, after about, I would say probably about halfway through the day, they're about done with school when it's football season. Their mind this year, they were ready to go. It's they were excited every day. But no, I think that's right. You gotta put them on a spot, and you got to make them see how quickly they know their stuff. And I think a lot of them have found out in huddle. Oh, if I just let my phone roll, it looks like more time on my film for coach. Yeah, so I know that one now. So we worked on that one. They learned that trick before because they didn't want to get punished by the previous head coaches and run. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. I was like, you're going to answer questions, and during spring ball and then during install and then all summer, I would make them get up on the board and draw through at least 2 or 3, whatever we're running that day, running it to them, running away from them so that they knew that. And the one thing that I'll always say, and I think that, O-line struggles with right now is the 3-4. Because now there's no base 3-4. With a 4-man front, 5-3-1-5. And if they're not lined up in that, then it's the kids probably messing up, with that. Very, very few times do you ever get anything outside of that, unless they're bringing like a double A gap pressure, and then you don't have that guy, and you probably got 2s or something. But man, that 3-man, we saw that our guys struggled with it because they start creeping up a backer, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, do we count this? Do we count the 4-eye, or do we count the guy outside of me? And I was like, all right, well, let's walk through this. And then it's like, they expect that to happen every time. I'm like, this is part of what the 3-4, why it's tough.
Yeah.
And so that's where making sure that we have our rules ready to go. And so they won't have to think. So this year we're actually installing everything against a 3-4. Last year we did a 4-3. And if you played a 4-3 against us, I'm sorry, because we got really good at that. But we got to get better at that 3-man front, man. And Northmore got us with that. And I'll never forget how ugly that was, but that ain't happening this year. So we're going to install everything against a 3-4. But no, you're right. Quiz the kids and make it fun and just make it to where it's, secondhand knowledge to them.
Is Northmore still running 3-3 stack, or are they more 3-4?
Oh man. So they had some fun stuff for us. So, of course, with Gus, a lot of teams did it, especially at our level. You see the kind of kid they have, Gus. So what they did with him was they kept somebody over him, under him, and next to him, whether left or right. So they set up in a 3-4. But what they would do is they would have a safety. The safety would be over top of them. And then that outside backer would be over, like right in his face, and then would creep in at the last second. And then they would make sure that safety didn't let him get anywhere. And then you had that other backer was looking for him. So they literally had they would bring 4 or 5. You just didn't know where that 4th or 5th was going to go. whether it was going to be the backer on Gus's side. And so we had to figure that out. And we just it was new, because we weren't ready. I don't think our guys and us as coaches, we didn't get them ready for the complication that can come of the 3-4 defense. And Coach Caruth and Northmore, man, they're doing it big time over there, and they had some pretty good chess pieces. And so we just didn't perform very well. But they, that's the part, man. People got to understand sometimes those defensive coaches know what they're doing. Everybody thinks that it's all about the offense, man. Those defense guys win too sometimes, just sometimes, but they do a great job.
Yeah. I just shameless plug real quick. I got to do this just because I told Coach Rappin I would. Guys, I just put live the new episode of Counterculture. And so it's live. We talk about counter. Coach Rappin goes into what he does. I go into what we do. So if you have time, probably not tonight, but tomorrow, go on, check us out. Make sure you hit like, comment something about power. Excuse me, power. I say power every time. Something about counter on the video for me. But they just went live. It finally uploaded, thank God. So somebody go and do watch that for us. And that would be an absolutely huge if you guys did that. But what I wanted to say to that point as well, I want to pull up this. Coach, what is y'all's base defense? 4-man, 3-man?
For us?
Yes, for you.
Oh yeah. So what we do is we go with it's a 3-4. It's a 3-4, but we kind of do with that bandit. So what we'll do is we will actually have boom, 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 and then we'll actually have our bandit come down. And so it makes it so he'll be super tight. And then we'll play a safety down over top, and then we'll have him go tight. And so we try to keep a very heavy box.
Gotcha.
And we play a lot of cover 3. This year we're probably gonna play a lot of man. To be honest with you, we're gonna play a lot of man and try to keep everybody in the box until they spread us out. And what we do is we usually put Gus here at this bandit. But now we're actually putting him over here a lot and coming off that edge until they show us that they will run weak, depending on where that H-back is. And if the H-back is on the other side, what we'll then do is we'll keep Gus there and he'll set the edge, and then we'll bring this guy off the edge. So no matter what, we have a 4th guy coming. But that's our defense coordinator. Now for me, when I'm running the defense, we're going to be at 3-4 slant angle, and we're going to keep those backers super tight. I play cover 6. I truly believe, because as an offense coordinator, I hate split field coverages and not knowing who's doing what and trapping people that way. But our defense coordinator does an amazing job, BJ Harrington. And so I told him, hey, you're the head coach of the defense. I'm not gonna tell you what to do until we need to, and I'm just gonna give you a little advice or whatever. But when I'm running the defense, like I did for the 1 year, we're gonna go 3-4 slant angle. Backers are gonna be outside backers are gonna be up there, about 1.5, 2 yards off of the tackle or H, and then we're gonna play cover 6 in the back. And what we do with our cover 6 is, it sounds crazy, but I find the guy that's the best presser, and he's traveling and he's going to press. He learns his technique is he's going to press and then bail and keep everything in front of him for 10 yards, and a safety will be over top of him. And then our 2 guys the guy, and then the best safety that can cover the most ground, he'll go with him. And then the other 2 are just don't get beat deep. And that's what we teach them with their cover 4 side. But I like to have somebody, I'll press that guy on the best receiver, because I was just talking to somebody that messaged me about what is the thing that gives offenses the most trouble. I was like, well, it's press. I was like, but here's the thing about that is as soon as that defense gets burnt, they're not pressing again. But I think you gotta stay with it. And what will frustrate you in any passing game is if your number 1 receiver's on the outside and he's getting pressed and it's throwing off the entire concept, then you win. And we all know that receivers are those divas. They're going to get frustrated. The quarterback's going to get frustrated. And so that way we'll always travel him to the best receiver. And and then put that cover 2 over there. And some teams will try to mess with that, and they'll put them one-on-one and try to take advantage of that other 3-man side. Well, then that's where I'll just drop that backer, and now we have a 3-over-3 situation or a 4-over-3 situation. But I as an offense coordinator, I know what I hate to see, and the one thing I hate to see is a loaded box. Loaded box press, that because now you're just like, oh man, that could possibly mess with our run game. And that's what I'm doing this offseason, man. I'll be honest with you, is some unbalanced and empty stuff. We're that power rate, but you want to load up that box, good luck, because we have a couple answers for you, and I hope you can handle 5 guys that all run at least 4 6s and all 6'2". So
yeah, the reason I asked you what your base defense was because when I was at North Carolina, our base defense was 3-4, so we saw it every day, right?
Yeah.
All through spring, all through summer, and so my guys were actually more comfortable with 3 down, head up techniques, or even 4 eyes, than they were in a static, shade 3 4 4-man front. So I think when your defense is an odd front defense, it just helps you out so much better because we got so good at recognizing, hey, it's odd. There's somebody over the center. My center, every single play would come up odd. He's got somebody over top of him, and then we would know, hey, we're arcing on counter and stuff like that. If they were a spill team, we got good at logging our traps, all those type of things. So it just made us a better football team. And then when we got to an even front team, it was like stealing. Like it's so much easier.
We did fine when a team would go into the bear because, like I said, we'd have Gus there, then that other backer. And I love personally when I would run the defense, I love 4 eyes too. But with our kids, it's like, what is this? Why is this guy like lined up here? And I'm like, all right, let's explain what they're trying to do. Why would you do that? All right, so that's what they would do. So this is how we're going to counter that. But we did fine when they showed 5 guys, or at least 4 with their hand in the dirt, and then a backer up. We did fine with that. It was something about our kids, just their head would spin with only 3 guys with their hand in the dirt and not knowing who was going to be those other guys. And it's something that it's just going to come with time. It was our first year together. So we'll figure it out, but we'll definitely, like you just said, is we're going to probably everything we do in spring ball and going into the summer, we're really going to hit on that 3-man front and why people run that. Because I think that will benefit us. I mean, I don't think we ran into like 1 or 2, but those 1 or 2, we get those, and we're not talking about just 7 wins, so we got to get better at that.
Yeah. My boy, Coach Brown, he asked if he can come on, and so I'm inviting him to come on and talk with us as well. But then there's other guys are asking if they can come on, so I'm gonna get Coach Brown on here. We'll talk a little bit. Let's bring up Coach Browning. It's my boy, Coach Browning. Is it, are you willing to live and die by the press? Like, what's your limit in changing them from pressing?
Yeah. So this was when I was up in Wisconsin, and we had a kid that, he was fast. So I will live and die with it. And the reason for that is if a team is not seeing press all year, and if they're not practicing it enough, those guys are clueless on how to get out of it. They're not comfortable with it. It's going to make them think. It's going to frustrate all the coaches, and the biggest one is going to frustrate that quarterback. If that's his number one read, maybe I haven't ran the defense down here in the South where everybody's got 3 or 4 receivers, but up there, if you took away their number one, it's going to frustrate the crap out of them. And that's what we did, was we just wanted to frustrate. And then especially for a quarterback, is like, oh, I'm throwing a slant or a fade. Well, if he's getting pressed on line of scrimmage and he's got doesn't have an offensive line that can block for very long, it frustrates the entire offense. Now, all right, now let's say that they try to do that where they play him on that single side. That's when, that we'll keep him man on man, and we might not press, but we're going to be up so he can smell what we ate for lunch, and then we'll bail out of it. But we're still going to be up there in the line of scrimmage to make him think, and to just frustrate, because 99% of the game is mental. And if they're not getting off that press, they'll probably drop a ball the first time they do get off the press, and the ball's thrown to them. Now, if they got like a 6'5" receiver and your corner is 5'6", I probably will start bailing, because he gets that off that release and they throw a fade, you're pretty much kind of probably going to be screwed. But the only way would be probably if the guy is a 4-star, 5-star, and we just haven't had success with doing it. And their Jimmies are better than our Joes. That's probably when I'll get off of it. But I want to frustrate them because I know as an offensive coordinator, or offensive mind and head coaches, that's the one thing that can frustrate is if your number one's getting frustrated and your quarterback starts getting frustrated, you can frustrate your opponent. You probably have that game won. So that's the mind games I would play.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. I just did Coach Rice a invite. He want to come on. He said he got some questions for us, Coach. And then we'll see what's up. Yeah, man. But yeah, whenever we would see Bear, especially with gap scheme, we always make we center same thing, makes an odd call. He'll see if it's 5. The tackles will see, hey, I got an inside guy in a 3, and I have a guy outside, and they'll make Bear call. So then when we do that, everybody, hey, down, down, down. So the center legit will go. I'll pull this up. So the center will go, all right, so down, down, down. We'll say they're more than 4 eyes. And then, so if we're going to run, let's just say we're running counter. So he's going to go, he's blocking back, and then he's locked on, and then we'll pull off the next guy.
Yeah.
So, hey, down, down, that. There are no double teams anymore. Screw it. We back. Yep. And then, say we're just running GT or GH. So he's there, and then we'll come around. Get around, fit in, get where you fit in. Because this 4-eye, more often than not, he's either going to play not back. If he does, try to get inside of him, try to get outside of him. And if he's not, he's playing B gap. So just wash him down. And we'll go that way. Yeah, Bear. I mean, a lot of guys like to change up for Bear, but it is like, I wouldn't stress Bear that much. Like, go outside,
Yeah.
Speed option is great against Bear. For those of y'all that don't, that's free game. Zone away. Go off the last guy off the line of scrimmage. Like, ain't got nobody out here. So
yeah, the worst thing to do is to try to run inside zone at the Bear. I can't remember who I was listening to this past week, but they were talking about when Ohio State and Oklahoma, and they were big on hitting the inside zone all year, and they got into the Bear, and the offense didn't know how to make adjustments, and they just kept running. It was like putting a square peg in a round hole. And that's why you always gotta be ready, have some gap scheme ready, man. I used to love inside zone so much, but the more and more round it, and we talked about this. Everybody right now is like, man, I don't know how our O-line's going to do. If you're not feeling very good about your O-line, inside zone gets pretty rough because you got to win some matchups there.
No doubt. All right, I'm gonna bring Coach on. Let's see, Coach Rice, what's going on?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Man, good,
man. How about you,
Coach Johnson? How's it going, man?
Oh, living the dream, man. Living the dream.
I see a lot of your Powerade stuff on Twitter. I had a question for you. How do you marry your pass game in your run game?
So the biggest one is we use our inside zone is pretty much how our blocking principles are going to be. Our running back is always going out in the pass game. And so that's why, we cause a lot of strain when we line up. You don't know if our running back's going left or right, based on where he's lined up because we do sidecar. And so how we match that up is we'll have some same side runs. And then also with a lot of our passing is we might be lined up on the right, but he's going out to the left. And that's why a lot of stuff we do is really quick. And then we'll also, to match that up is, we have our mesh where our running back is going out, and we don't use a lot of play action, I'll be honest with you, but our RPOs is kind of how we slow down the defenses. And then also, like I said, same side runs, and then knowing that they can't just say, oh, if our running back's on the right side, they're running to the left, and that's how we get it with our between our pass game and our same side runs is how we marry that up. The play action just for me hasn't. It's It's adding more to our offensive line for them to have to think because they're like what we struggle with, especially where I was just at. And we remember I had a guy that played D1 at UNC, and we just could not get our guys to stop going downfield because we're just like, hey, it's power or it's counter play action, and they just couldn't figure out. No, I can't get upfield. Matter of fact, we've had in the playoff game, we had 2 touchdowns brought back, and so it was just like, all right, scrap the play action. And so we just to pretty much to marry is just we matched our RPO with our game. And we had rules if it's a 1 receiver side, 2 receiver side, 3 receiver side, whether they're running stick or our quick screens. But that's how we marry it. I wish I could say I had some answer for play action, but I'll be honest, man, I would rather not try it and spend so much time on it when I could get really good at a lot of other things that I'm going to throw a lot more. Like for us, our play action, I bet you if we actually focus on it, we would probably throw it 3 to 5 times. Well, that 3 to 5 times, I could spend more time on making sure that we run mesh right, or making sure that we run stick right, or making sure that our linemen, like I just said, if we're facing a 3-4, make sure they know who they got, so I guess we could always try to do a better job, but the way that we marry it would be, the RPO game.
Seeing so just a little story about me. I grew up in Bunn, North Carolina. I don't know if
Okay. Yes, sir.
It seems like they've fallen on hard times here recently, but when I was there, man, we were really, really good 2A high school football, which is what Northwood is, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I remember playing Northwood in like a jamboree, so I remember what Northwood was, but I know about seeing Northwood now. So
Yeah.
seeing what you've done there has been really, really cool.
I appreciate it, man, because that was the one thing that I let everybody know in the community was I don't think that I'm gonna have this magic silver bullet to ever get back to what they were. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to rebuild tradition. And so what we talked about was rebuilding Rome. And so we were rebuilding the wood. And we wanted to bring that mentality back because there used to be so much pride. So I grew up and played at Pinecrest, and I still knew who Northwood was because they would come and scrimmage us and do 7-on-7. And I would play there at baseball. And it was just like when you saw the amount of head coach changes and the mediocrity, you're like, dude, that don't make sense,
Right.
And, when I saw the job was open, I actually tried to get there. When I was up in Wisconsin, I tried to get the Northwood job, but things happen for a reason. God's got a plan. And then when I saw this one open up again, I loved my year down there in Statesville and down there, but I just wanted to get closer to home, and I wanted to be a place I was familiar with. And I had to go for that job, but I appreciate that. We're still building. I think that we have a lot to build on this year, and I really do appreciate that, because if we're any glimpses of what they were, I mean, we're on the right track to where we want to be.
Yeah, man. It's so it sounds like your journey a little bit so far is kind of like mine. I'm originally from North Carolina too. I'm now living in Illinois. So
that's where I was born. I was born in Peoria.
Oh, were you? Man,
yes, sir.
That's awesome. What so it sounds like between marrying your run game and your pass game, it sounds like you just pretty much replaced it with the RPO game.
Yeah. RPO and and then a lot of it is that pre-snap give stuff. So like smoke screens, bubbles, and all that. Because if defenses are going to play, and I can show you that they'll play 10 yards off of us. I actually just did a mesh video today, and they have a guy playing center field at 25 yards off of us. And I'm just like, so it was kind of like one of those things of like, all right, well, we better be really good at quick game because people don't want to get burnt. And right there, what do you usually hit when you're hitting play action? That's usually that 15 to 20 yards. Well, that's what people want to take away. And then I could show you against another team where they had 8 guys in the middle of the field. Other than the corners, that was all that was on the outsides. It was 8 guys in the middle of the field because they were scared of mesh and they were scared of 4 verts. And so it was one of those things of, well, I don't need play action. I think that they're terrified enough of our screens before the snap or before any type of run action. They're scared of our run. So it was just like, why would I Why would I need this play action? Let's get good and let's keep it simple. Because if you're adding the play action, you're probably going to have to add a little bit more of another concept or two or adjustment for your receivers and for your O-line. I just want to keep it simple, man. So we're 4 run schemes, 4 quick. Actually, I would say probably 3.5, because we don't throw smash that much. And then for our drop back, we're like 3.5, 4, and then 4 screens. And so we just get dirty off of that and a lot of formations. I mean, we out formation people all night long.
That's a mistake that I feel like we ran into this past year at Oswego East. Was we were throwing so much at them, when now this year in the off season we're like, you know what, here's 4 runs, here's 4 gap scheme runs or families or whatever you want to call it, and then here's 6 pass concepts, here's 12 formations.
Yep, and I'm telling you, you'll see a difference.
We're just
and that's the one thing that during COVID and after that, and especially when I was coming back down south, I spent a lot of time processing, like, what do I have? Because I wanted to make sure that wherever I was going, boom, let's get good at it. You can't have a playbook. You have to have a system. And I think that's where people run into it, is they got they got that Frankenstein playbook instead of having a system.
Yep.
I got. Let me get Coach Brown on here. What up, dog? You're muted.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey, man. There's nothing. Oh, my bad. There's nothing better than being able to sit here and listen to guys late at night talk about offensive line play and how we like to do stuff, man. And it's always fun. I think I actually was on a Zoom clinic because somebody who I didn't even know DM'd me and was like, "Hey, man, I seen what you talked about on Tatum's O-line clinic. We don't run duo out of 11 personnel. Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Sure, bet, absolutely." And so it's just so much fun, and it's funny because you guys talking about the 3-down look, man. Like I told you, because of our athletes and what we have, guys are terrified to play us with a loaded box. And one of the actual only people who do it is our rival. And what was funny was they give us a 7. They're a true 3-4 defense, but they use their 2 guys as overhang. So, Coach, one of the things we did to counter it, Coach Johnson, is we go with our X and our Z. They line up at the bottom of the numbers and in between the bottom of the numbers and the sidelines. And our H and our Y line up 3 yards outside of the in between, 3 yards in between the hash and the top of the numbers. And so you can go ahead and try to give you that loaded box, but then we're going to be able to tell what else you in to attack you outside. So that's one of the things we do. We use our splits, and automatically we're going to beat you just based off of alignment. And I love what you said, like alignment and assignment are the number one and 2 things on defense. And so we do a lot of alignment and assignment things, like, and we're tempo. So it's one thing that we align different. It's 2 things that we're fast, and it's 3 things that we have the skill. When you got those combinations, and then a 4th thing is we got an offensive line. I started 3 sophomores last year, and I ended with starting 2 juniors, one who had played a couple and got benched like 3 games into the year before, and the other one never played before. And so a lot of those things we got to grow and things we got to do. Man, this year it's so much fun. And as you guys see, I've been putting it on my Twitter. Man, these dudes get a full off season with me, and they're grinding, like, and they're starting to. We talk football, and they're starting to pick our things up and the mistakes that we made last year up already. And it's like it's gonna be scary, because what are you gonna do to us when those guys, like with Coach? I'm sorry if I missed your name, Coach Rice, but one of the things that he's probably like 6'10", but one of the things that we do when we worry about guys getting called, like one game, man, I think the second game of the year, we hit like we were down maybe 7. We hit a 60-yard bomb, and they called my tackle for being downfield because he was at like just at a 1.5, maybe 2 yards. And so me and the OC got together and we give one word tags to our guys. So, and it's something very simple. It's literally, I'm not gonna tell people because you never know the spies, man.
Yeah.
But so like one of our run plays um is this, and then we have the RPO to counter it, and it's literally just boom. So they know, oh, this is the same play. It's just added on. Now we're not going to go downfield. So they automatically know, like, even if they have the double team with the nose, they're going to double the nose, but they're going to stay lateral with their movement. They're not going to get vertical at all. So it's just going to be a double team laterally. And he knows I just got to make sure that the nose doesn't split me, but I don't go upfield. And we also have a play design to where, like, we have our draws, but then we also have draw protection to where the running back is going to go like insert, and he might go 1, 2, and then if that linebacker matches with him, he's going to go on a vert right down the middle of the field. And that play is just a specific name, so the offensive line knows it's 1 patient, 2 patient, 3 patient, 4 patient. Then you go. So by that time, you'll never get called for a downfield, just based off of the play names. That's how we kind of counter the illegal man downfield because we do a lot of RPO stuff too.
Yeah.
And
And then with mine, I'll even say, I don't care anybody says, I'll show you film. There was no man downfield, man. I don't care anybody says. It was GT
Hey.
counter, and they tried to call on the guy that was kicking out the end. I just think it was some home cooking that playoffs because they saw that team getting their butt whooped.
hey,
But
Coach Johnson, our tight end got called for an illegal man downfield. That's how bad it was for us.
That's crazy.
You want to talk about our head coach almost getting kicked out out. He almost didn't just get kicked out of the game. He almost got suspended for the whole year. When he was like, how? Because we run duo, and so our tight end down blocks a lot. But then we end up having say hi. Can you say hi?
Hey,
But yeah, so we run duo, and we kind of ran like a duo pop pass to where our tight end blocks down, and then he goes. And we end up hitting it big, and we got called for a legal man downfield. And when they said the number, the ref stopped and thought about it. And he was like, did I really just call? And he said it like he corrected himself because they was like, what number was it? And they was like, number 3. And he was like, 60, like he was like 3. He's like, why did y'all? But by that time, he didn't pick it up. Like it was what it was. But yeah, man, like that's just some of the stuff we do to kind of counter.
yeah, absolutely.
Because for us, like one of the things about where we are, man, is again like you bring a loaded box to us, man. We every run play has an RPO attached to it.
Yep.
So no matter what, you load a box, like a lot of the times we read it, people think, oh, just read the backside C gap. Like, yeah, that's fine. But like, how else can we manipulate that guy to where, all right, we might go split flow with him. We might go arc our tight end, but bring him across the formation like a split flow look, but go arc to where he's not going to be the read regardless. But the offensive line is pushing inside zone right, but we're going to arc that DN, make him think we're cutting him. So then when he splits and stops, all right, now we're throwing it to our tight end quick. Or we might go gap or counter scheme, and we might block out and block fan on that. We might arc the 4-eye, or we might down block the 4-eye. Like I know we faced a couple 4-stars who went to who's like one of the 4-stars going to Pitt, and he came up to me because we know each other. He paused the ball. That's hard. But he was like, Coach, he was like, man, why'd you do that to me? He was like, man, like you made me look like a scrub. And I was like, bro, it was nothing personal. I was like, but if you thought we was gonna let you come in our house and just disrespect us, he was like, no. He was like, man, y'all had slide protection where it was the guard and the tackle. Y'all had protection where it was the tight end and the tackle. Then y'all bring the tackle by itself. Then y'all leave me unblocked. He was like, he was like, I was so worried about trying to get a single block. I couldn't even know what to do. Like, but yeah, it's so great, man. And one of the things, Coach, when you talk about inside zone, what I've learned is it's so precise at how you can line up inside zone with duo. And I think when you can run duo off your inside zone, it helps because you're literally unblocking one guy. Or
Yeah.
really it might be two, because for us, like when we go duo, if we're going to duo right, we're leaving our backside C gap alone more than likely to a loaded box. And my guys, they know whether it's so if we have if we have 5 guys, me, whatever. I got kicked out my man. How are you gonna kick me out of my man cave? That don't make sense.
That's tough. That's tough.
You see that?
It's
But I
probably
mean,
because you did that unspoken rule of inside zone and duo talk.
Yup.
hey, it's so funny when defensive guys be like, it looks the same. I'll be like, that's why it's so easy to run the rock on you. Like, yeah, it does look the same, you idiot. Except your Mike linebacker is untouched. But yeah, go ahead and say it looks the fucking same. Like, um, but it's just so funny, man, and how when we run our duo, we leave a lot of the like I said, the backside guy alone. But my guys, they know, all right, if our tight end's in the run or if he's not. And that will tell them how to identify a loaded box or unloaded box. And I learned like teaching them loaded, unloaded helps with everything else, because then if it's loaded, the first thing you say is, all right, backside C gaps alone. Like you don't even worry about backside C gap. And if you get in a situation where you have a 5 and you have an overhang who might be like apex, but he might still be creeping and crawling a little bit, he now becomes the C gap. Like you don't worry about him. So we would block, like for instance, if we had like we run inside zone where we're blocking 5 for 5. And so if we have a 6 guy, if he's we leave the back, no matter where that 6 guy is, we would leave that backside. So if they give you an overhang to the right, we're going to account for that guy and leave the backside 5 alone. But if he's in a 4, we're obviously going to take him if he's in a 4 or 4 out. Like we're not going to leave a guy inside of us alone. But really getting to the point of our guys understanding, like, and again, I had sophomores who picked it up. So like this year, it's like now we're going to be able to use vocal things to just help us go faster. Because again, our thing is we really, really want to go fast. And like watching it on tape, we were snapping a ball from the time it was set. We were like 8 seconds calling the play. Like,
Yeah, and
play.
that's what we're excited about is we finished averaging 44 a game and 440 yards, but we're excited about this year being another offseason together. We're the only thing we have to replace is a couple of linemen and our quarterback, but our quarterback actually got all conference because he got in for amount of games for our starting quarterback. So we're excited about that. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that this offseason, having another offseason together could make us even more potent.
I know you, Coach Johnson, and you, Coach Brown, were talking about spending an off season together. I'm heading into my first. Well, I mean, I spent a lot of time with the run game last year with the running backs, but I spent time with the O line at Coastal Carolina. But I'm heading into my first year where I'm the offensive line coach. When I first got these guys at the beginning of the second semester, they didn't know what a 3-tech was. Good athletes, good offensive linemen. They didn't know what a 4-2 over defense was. So I talked about those quizzes in the offseason, that the classroom time we've spent together. The other day at the walkthrough, we had bags out. I told them, give me a 4-2 over defense, give me 1 3-tech, give me 1 tech, 5 tech, and a 6 tech because we have a tight end attached. And the guys just lined the bags up perfectly. And I was like, you know what? Minor victories.
Yeah, that's what we ran into this year. Which is crazy because we took over people that ran the power I and the flex bone, and man, these people, the guys didn't know when we were speaking O-line, normal everyday O-line talk. Their head was spinning like the freaking Exorcist.
Yeah.
And then that's how it was for our basketball players that came to play. A receiver for us we were speaking a whole new language, and and this isn't bashing the former regime, but there just wasn't a lot of teaching and coaching what football terminology. And I think that's the biggest one that that people will struggle with is you just gotta teach and coach these kids up the most basics, because that's where they're lacking, is they don't watch football and like we do. They play Madden and they look for the cheat code on YouTube, and that's how they beat people. They're not really actually playing and understanding the game. They're just finding ways to cheat.
Yeah.
But and I think that's something to where, I don't consider myself just an offensive line coach. I think I've gotten out of that mentality, man. Like I really talked about being a developer, because I genuinely know, and it was funny because a couple of my guys, I'm now at the point in my 5th year coaching. Some of the guys I had when freshmen are now, moving on and so forth. And, one of my guys, man, he's blessed enough to be going to Bowling Green. And he was like, Coach, he was like, I think he was like, I want to thank you because, and he surprised me. And he was like, man, I really want to thank you for getting me recruited. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, you know how you used to beat in our head 3 down versus 4 down. And soon as it's a 3 down, it's odd. Or he was like, soon as it's 4 down, over or under. He was like, man, what the coach came down to see me in the office and he made me get on the board. And he was like, all right, draw me an over front. And he was like, draw me under front. And he was like, tell me, because I even tell my guys, like, we don't use it, but I'm like, hey, these are called 20 linebackers. These are called 30 linebackers. These are 50s. Like, this is a 10. Never knowing, like, when they would do it. But, like, my guys, I try to teach them. And I hate when people say, Coach, oh, well, they can't understand it. Like, that's coaching. Like, you give enough time of saying the same thing, the same amount of time. You can make it simple. Like, for me, I don't sit there and regurgitate a lot of information, but my guys know Gallup technique. I'm going to tell them bang the hip. That's the number one step, bang the hip. Like, and so they know when they hear Gallup, I'm going to bang the hip. And it's funny because now I turn it into like, when they do it, I'm like, bang, bang. Like, you got to bang the hip. But they know, like, bang the hip is on a Gallup. And I think when you get to the point of, like, simplifying it, but giving them all the information they need, like, I'm not going to break down everything, but I'm going to tell them, like, and again, you see the stuff I post on my Twitter, they're doing a basic movement of stuff, Tatum. Like, and I know Tatum sees it. Like, my guys are literally, like, I'm teaching them lateral movement, and they are stepping one step at a time, and they look really robotic. But then, as you see in the videos, I'm not coaching them through it. I want to see if they can self-correct, because that's what this offseason is about. That's what the process is about. And then from January, February, and March, it's all technique stuff, all bare basic technique stuff. And then I'm teaching them our plays. I'm teaching them everything. Then in April, when we go spring ball, then now I'm like, all right, let's get to it. Now we're starting to move. Then May is like, all right, ramp it up a little bit more. By the time we get to June and July, I'm tightening screws. Like, I'm August, boy, I better not be saying the same stuff I was saying in June or July, or I'm telling y'all it's gonna get bad. Like, if I'm repeating the same stuff in August that I was saying in January, I'm either gonna get fired or y'all ain't gonna be playing. And I ain't going nowhere no time soon.
That's awesome you said that, Coach Brown, because if you ask any of my offensive linemen right now what I've said the most, it's gap down backer. Like, they are so tired.
Facts.
They are so tired of hearing me say GDB.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day at our walkthrough, one of the kids had a question about we were running GT, and he was play side tackle. He was like, Coach, what do I do? And I was like, okay, well, let's walk through gap down backer. And we walked through it, and he was like, man, God, how did I not know that?
You know what made me feel good, Coach Rice? We were watching it on tape, and this was this past Tuesday. And I mentioned I got the same 5, so they know me really well. And we were like, all right, we're running our power play. And he was like, my left tackle, so we're running power to my left tackle, so he should go gap down backer, right? But he was like, Coach, he was like, you know what I'm going to start doing this year? I don't know if you're going to be mad at me. He was like, that linebacker looks like he might be in my way. Can I just take him? I said, oh, my goodness. I said, he's getting it. I said, I was about to cry. Like, I literally stopped film and was like, that's my quarterback. I said, because so many times you teach gap down backer that they just think, all right, if this freaking Mike linebacker is in your way, you just going to let him go. Like, no, he's going, like, just because, and again, I started teaching my guys, like, to that 3-4 look, if there's an overhang, he can be the guy that we're kicking out. Like he can be the wrap through guy. Because if the Mike is smart, he's going to see you guys go down, and he's feeling right now. So if I'm a tackle, if he even like to me, everybody just think on my track is that 45 angle. On my track can be, is he right in front of me and can he make the play? But it's like that's where you got to be advanced with teaching your techniques to where gap down backer is 45, but it's also nearest threat. Like if that Mike is looking like a threat, man, we could take him in because again, your T, he might not the guy who's leading through for the pulling, I call it a pulling gut, like he is just reading the block. So if you go down and you're covering something up, you can teach him how to read off of that block right there and take the nearest threat versus, oh, maybe he'll pick up the mic and we just leaving a guy on block. Like I hate teaching that gap scheme stuff of like leaving a guy alone because it's not my responsibility. Like, man, if I'm here, gap down to me is if I go to step and if I look straight, is there somebody peeking and I can get him? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me ask you this real quick. Because I pulled this, had somebody ask me about duo versus veer, and I just want to talk about this because I had some guys ask me this question. They're saying one question he texted me says, "For what you have drawn up, do you assume that the end will be occupied with emotion?" And the cue, like, no, coach. The if it's in red, it means he's being red. He's the in-man line of scrimmage, and that's the first level read. And then the one in blue is the pitch read. So, but essentially, why I put this on here, it was asked because this is veer, right? This is for our North Carolina guys. Mount Airy runs this till the cows come home and went 16-0 and won the state championship. So that's it. That's just veer, right? Now, if you go and you do this, that's duo, 100% duo. So there's no read, right? So that's my biggest thing. Like that's people have been doing this for years, right? Two double teams, kick on the front side. That's duo. I mean, so football is literally coming back around all the time, and it just give it a new fancy name. But that's
I think I saw it in your YouTube. I think it was your YouTube video, Coach Tatum, where you said something about duo is power without the puller.
Yeah,
I mean it's just duo.
Yeah, because essentially right here, right. I know some guys they hate that term, but I don't care. So instead of doubling to a backside linebacker, basically, and I was talking to a guy about this as well. We can make a solid call if we had this linebacker walk up in the backside B gap. We would make a solid call, and this backside guard would not pull on power. He would stay back, and he would just block the backside B gap, right? And so when we make that solid call, our front side double team knows that we're working vertical now. Okay, we're not working to a backside linebacker, we're working to play side linebacker. But that's essentially what it is, right? So now if we don't have a solid call and he doesn't walk up, now we know that we're going to double to this backside linebacker, just like everybody does on power, and then we're going to skip pull around the double team. That's just power right there. So it is power without the puller, but yeah, it's potato, and some guys get into duo versus inside zone. And I said it in my video, like, hey, to me, zone, we're all stepping the same way. I don't care. Like you have your play side gap, whereas in duo, you might have your play side, you might have your backside gap. We're trying to make double teams. I don't care where they are. I don't care where we're stepping. You get your double teams. You might step to the left, might step to the right. But in zone, for me at least, unless we have a lock call on the backside, everybody's stepping to the right or to the left. That's just zone for me.
See, I think for me it's a little bit different. Yes. Nothing. The phone dropped. Yeah, like that's kind of crazy. The veer, the only thing that's different for us is like where we create our double teams. Because I think the veer and the difference for us on duo is y'all are blocking. Like we're not blocking like we purposely leave somebody unblocked on duo. You know, if that makes sense. So like Tatum, if you go back to pulling that up, like for us, we're gonna to this look like we go 2 for 2. So the guy we're not accounting for is my bad. I'm on my phone. Oh yeah, the guy we're not accounting for is that strong safety. But like the double teams for us, like we're okay with Will being untouched. Like we're reading Will. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
but it's the no pull power. I think it starts to get confusing because your guys got to be really well at communicating that Will on the line of scrimmage or not on the line of scrimmage. You know, with the no pull power. But that's something you game plan. But it is crazy to think like the duo and the Veer are really, really similar.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, and like you said, you don't go to the wheel. That's what it is. What it is, the running back reads the linebacker versus we don't necessarily block him. We're 2 for 2. We know that our deuce right here is going tackle to Mike. But if my double team never touches the Mike, I care less. I tell him, hey, you kill this 3 technique.
Yeah.
Will we come off on the mic if it's perfect? Great. Yes. But the running back is responsible for jumping the gap and I like doing that at pistol. That's just me. But he's coming down hard. He's coming downhill hard. If the mic goes a gap, all right, well, he's going to be gap. Right? He's going to make a jump cut to the next gap. So he's responsible for the mic. So if we don't block him, it is what it is. Like I just tell him, hey, you kill this 3 technique, and we keep rolling.
So now that guy, or is he in a 3 right now? Is the T in a 3 right now?
Yeah, he's in a 3.
Does it change for you if he's in a 4-eye?
It does. If he's in a 4, that means that they're odd front. And for me, I'm putting a tight end on the line of scrimmage. And I'm gonna generate my double teams that way.
So we don't. So when our guy's in a 4-eye, I mean like a 4 or 4-eye, we go double with the tight end and the tackle on. So they go 2 for 2 because eventually that guy, like we will read the end on that play. So for our duo to the tight end, so the E would be left unblocked. We would double team the T with our tackle and our tight end and go 2 for 2 with the T and the mic. We would double team the center with the center and the guard to the nose and the will, and then we would push with the end for the end and the strong safety. That's how we run our duo to that look. And I think the difference for us, there's a difference of running duo under center. There's a difference with running duo in the formation you got right now. And then there's a difference running it with the running back right next to the quarterback. And so we kind of give you duo in a lot of different ways. Again, Coach Johnson, I see them wheels turning because me and you, we like the out formation guys. And so we like to make a lot of people wrong. And like we said, we can throw off and do a lot of RPO stuff with that end. But that's how we do our duo to that 4-eye look.
Yeah, I mean,
I just stay away from duo, man. It's it ain't for me, man. I'm gonna keep it super simple, and I feel like what you guys all just did. If you went and spoke to our guys in the classroom right now, I'm telling you, half of them are probably calling home and trying to not go out to practice. That's our guys. That's why I keep it super simple because I'm even sitting here and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna throw the ball. I'm just gonna throw it. I mean,
my thing is this right here, and like the way I just did duo, that's great. When you get to odd front, this looks like zone to me because everything's going to the left.
Everybody's stepping left.
Everything is to the left.
Yeah,
everything is zone left.
Right.
And so you can call it. I've heard it called like a clamp call or whatever you want to call it, where the H is coming with us, and he's got his backside C gap, and we're zoned through. However you want to do it, yeah. But that's how I would block. That's how I would block zone against odd front.
And what I liked when we saw the odd front, we kill people just with dart. Because if that end's just going to come up field, then we're just going to read them. And now we have our tackle taking that in. We have the guard and center taking that nose, and then boom, right there, and our running back's running right off of that pull and tackle. We went dart, and the next year we'll go what we going to call gut, and it's just going to be that one back pull with the guard pulling. That just for us is just so much.
G-fold?
Who?
With the guard pulling, like you're saying, against an
Yeah,
odd
so
front like
if we
G
would
pull.
go inside zone, pretty much I think everything's inside zone, but then that backside guard is just going to pull. And what we'll do is if we get a 5 and a 3 and a 4-man, we're going to call that over dart. And then a 3-man is super simple because now that guard's just going to pull for that front side backer.
How much do you run H ISO?
So ISO is one of our, because we have Tatum knows we got a nice little 4-star tight end that the
There you
problem
go.
is like as soon as we keep him in, people know that we're running some type of stuff. But yeah, we run ISO, and what we really love is running quarterback ISO. And what we'll do is they'll both insert to those backers, and we get down to the red zone. That's what we kill people with. But yeah, we like ISO, and like Tatum said, we face the 3-man front. If we face the 3-4, we're bringing Gus in. We're putting his hand in the dirt. We're lining up at wing. We're lining up at sniffer. We're putting him at running back, and let's go. You want to load up that box with 6-7 guys. Well, I hope you're ready to take on our horses. And we also had a quarterback that was a freak athlete. So that's how we handled that. But yeah, that duo talk, man. I'm telling you right now, I wish I could have recorded that and sent it, and showed it to my guys and showed you their reaction. They would have told me to go kick rocks. I'm telling you that right now. So that's why
that's
we keep it
crazy.
super simple.
Like, I don't know why it's so comfortable to me. I don't like, maybe it's the O-line guy, man. Like so I ran a wing T offense in high school. So we ran buck sweep. But
Me
like,
too.
so we did a lot of gap stuff. But like when I switched to inside zone, to me, like Tatum said, like that's how we teach duo, like how you teach inside zone. And then with us, where we really start to get funky is we go ISO, we can ISO out of that look right now. Like, and it gives you the inside zone look. We might cut the backside, we might arc the backside, but we're giving you all flow to the same way. It really, man, and when we talk about we lock our tackles on our inside zone, man, people are confused. So you don't know if we're going inside zone, you don't know if we're going ISO, you don't know if we're going duo. There's a lot of different things.
And that's what we package with our inside zone. We package what we're going to call gut, and then what we call dart, and then our ISO. That's what we're packaging with our inside zone, so you won't know what's coming to you.
Mm-hmm. I like what Coach Meyer said right here. He said, "You guys thought about reading the 4-hour within my line of scrimmage and we arc the tackle." Yes, I'm. If you don't know, Coach Tatum is a huge arc the tackle guy. So arc the tackle on the front side of counter, and I will arc the tackle on the back side of any read ever. So yes, arc your tackles is good for you.
I know I said it a little bit earlier. I was you talk about reading the 4-eye. I spent 5 years at Coastal Carolina under Jamie Chadwell and Willie Corn, man. So we would read those 4 eyes and just run midline the entire time. Yes. The entire time. We just ran midline. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I love reading any 4-eye and arcing any tackle that we have to get his hat on the corner.
The person who gets more upset about us reading the 4-eye and arcing him is the guard. He hates it. Like my guard gets so mad if we ever like on our counters when we go, because we go GT counter, but then we'll also go like GH counter. And if we tell him like, yo, you don't got to kick this guy out, like he gets upset, like hates it.
Tatum, you're drawing it up. You're drawing up our funky little thing that people hated that against going against us. Except for our tackle does that that touchdown block. Man, he goes for that. He goes for the will. We don't even worry about that defensive end.
Swim moves. The 3-tech and go straight to the will.
So our tackle lets that end go. He veer releases inside. So as an assistant coach, I was split back veer was our head coach's baby, and so our O-line coach played for me, and so he was very good at that. So anytime that we had any ends that were coming up field at all, we taught them the inside veer move. Man, just get skinny through there. The old school West Point, Army West Point, just squeeze on through there and get to that backer, man, because I ain't worried about that end. If he comes a 2 feet up, 2 feet vertical, he ain't touching our guy.
The
But
the one thing I thought you were drawing at first was influence trap. That's one thing. I'm in Illinois. There's nobody in Illinois watching this right now. We're getting ready to get an influence trap a little bit, where we are going to take that right guard, kick out the defensive end, take that backside guard, kick out the 3-tech. It's the one thing that we did at Coastal a little bit, and it worked really, really well for us. So I'm excited to get into that a little bit.
I got one for you on that right there. If you want to get really funky and piss people off, you ready?
Yeah.
So instead of setting up in trio, or what I call trio, or that trips nub, if you put your H over off the ball with that Y, you fake the jet now and then run quarterback buck sweep, brother. People are gonna hate you.
So like he's in a wing?
No, just put him out as a normal receiver and then bring him with a fake jet and then run quarterback buck.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. They're gonna hate you.
Guys, I read up that if you don't run trips nub, I don't know what you're doing. But like I know Coach Johnson put a short out on his YouTube that trips nub was his favorite formation. It's my favorite formation as well. Great minds think alike. But quarterback pin and pull to the tight end nub. Probably,
but listen,
it's not the best. It's not my best play in football because everybody knows GT Bash. But it probably is the best play in football.
Hey, listen.
People aren't running.
No, QB ISO, when you got a guy, man, you want to talk about fun?
Coach Brown. Any play in football when you got a guy is the best play in football.
Hey, Coach Jim, I got one that you got to go study up. All right.
What's up?
So I got 2 kids that are at Minnesota Duluth. Okay. Yeah. And so what they run is they run the old school wing T G down.
Yeah.
Okay. And what they do is they run it out of 12 personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I watched film on that, man. That's not even fair. They run G down and then they'll run G lead. Holy crap. And they are just busting people up, man.
You talking about G fold?
No. So what they'll do is
Coach, if you want to pull Huddle up, I'll let you share it. What do I do?
Do I hit present?
Yeah, hit present, and then what I do, I just hit share full entire screen.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull mine off. I'm gonna get funky. I'm gonna show y'all this was like what our best thing we did last year was.
Yeah, you start talking about some wing T stuff, Coach Johnson. I know Coach Brown will relate to this, man. We ran guard trap until we couldn't run guard trap no more.
Amen.
Listen, you want to talk about, here's the thing. We get to the point, Coach, where we run outside zone with a speed option away from the outside zone. So we'll go like tight end trips. So we'll have literally just a Z, like X out by itself. We'll give you outside zone look. We might pull a G like power. We might give you power with a speed zone to the back side of it. And we'll start our tailback on the right side of the trips. And on the clock, he'll run in formation. Man, it's so funny. Like, my favorite thing to look at is when a defensive coordinator is just sitting there, like, upset at his players because they didn't do something that they never seen done wrong. Like, it's my favorite thing to do.
Hey, Coach Johnson, with your power raid stuff, how much cheetah / fast motion are you doing?
Fast motion?
Yeah.
We haven't really done a lot of the stuff you're seeing in the NFL, but we do a lot of fast motion into our stick and snag that really bothers people, and they don't like it very much.
The one thing I was talking with our head coach, so like I'm the run game coordinator, so I really just give ideas for pass game. Was going 2x2, and fast motioning him across into a China, like a China concept or something.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how we're a gap scheme team now. We ran zone last year. We didn't like it, so I was like, let's go smash mouth football. But he wants to be able to throw the football. So I was like, man, I know this guy on Twitter, Coach, that runs a power raid offense.
So do y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
So what they do is they run G down. All right. And so if this end is the tight end, no matter what, is accounted for. So it's like that pin and pull, but now it's only one guard pulling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And they're pulling out. This is their perimeter run. And so the running back and then the quarterback is just here. And then he reads off of this butt, whether he cuts there or he gets off the edge. I mean, it is, and it doesn't even matter if they were to even bring this end or this linebacker over here and go with this look. If you take a look, you still have the numbers.
Yep.
How does that tight end's assignment change when they bring that linebacker over?
His rule, no matter what, is he's responsible for him because then that guard will get that linebacker. And now the running back is one-on-one with the corner.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Minnesota Duluth runs that. I saw the article in X&O Labs, and then I watched some film on it. And a matter of fact, if you go and follow Mike Kuchar at on Twitter, he just posted something with the Minnesota Duluth coach who, matter of fact, let me get his. It's Coach Vogler. And dude, I'm telling you what, if you got a quarterback that can get out there, it would be Chase Vogler at Coach Vogler. And Mike Kuchar just shared something with him, and it's nasty. It's they do G leads and they do quarterback G leads. It's pretty dirty.
So could you go trips nub like you just showed, put the running back away from the trips, and go like a quarterback G lead?
To the away or to the nub?
To the nub.
Oh yeah, they'll put the run, and what they'll do is they'll send that running back out and make it look like they're going to throw a screen and then run it. Yeah, it's not even fair. And then their quarterback, I got to watch film. He with them, he played with Braylon Allen at Fond du Lac High School. And Braylon Allen, he's a freaking dude at Wisconsin. Jasper. I can't remember what his last name is, but he's 245-pound running back that runs a 4.5, 4.6, Wall Jasper. And so he just runs people over. And that's why they put this in was, it gets nasty up there in Duluth. I mean, they'll play in games where a foot or 2 feet of snow and you ain't throwing the ball. So they got him, and they probably, if they would have made the playoffs, they probably would have made some noise in D2, but they run that and they love it.
All right, so what I got. This was nasty. So we would bounce the back. So just to show you that right there. So I'm just going to line him over here. So we would bounce the back, and then it would be, I would call what I wanted. I would call super counter, okay, first. And if I didn't like it, we would call sweep. So let's just call super counter right now. We would just basically up front, we're blocking power up front. They don't know anything different. They just know we're running power to the right. Everybody's blocking there. He's skip pulling around for the first uncolored jersey, and he's going to pick a hinge. First sniffer is kicking the end. Second sniffer is leading up, and we are running behind him. Get in there, pocket and go.
So your first sniffer is he getting out there before the guard?
Yeah, that's why. He'll line up. He'll line up behind the tackle, just so the timing's there. So the guard he's skip pulling and going. And then the first sniffer, he's running to kick out block. So yeah. And then the second puller, he's wide enough where he comes around. He's there's no one there. And then the tailback will probably be wider, but this is diagram. So running super counter to the right. If we didn't like it, let's say, so like if they gave us this look, we would run super counter. If they went, and this is what happened in a game, we would run to death. They'd bring this backer over. So then what I would tell everybody, so I would have a call. We'd run quarterback sweep to the left.
Yeah.
So look at the numbers.
I'm pretty sure if you didn't score, everybody should be off the football field.
Yeah.
And you should see some of the adjustments we get here. Like I said, when we were the last game of the year, I was just watching it today, putting together the mesh. There's a safety 25 yards off the ball, middle of the field, because they were worried about 4 verts. They were worried about our 4-star with a seam route or running a dig. So they have corners 12 yards off. So one safety 25 yards off, one safety 20 yards off. And I said to our quarterback, I was like, well, brother, I was like, we're going to run the ball and we're going to throw stick. I was like, because I was like, they ain't stopping that. And so we trolled them. And I think, Coach Tim, I think I've told this stories. We ran stick up and down the field for scores, just did our different variations. And I didn't feel bad one bit, because if that's what you're going to do, then I'm going to take what you're doing and I'm going to use it against you. And then we're going to talk about it on Monday at our highlight time before practice. So
that's your 8 formations where you just run the same play out of it time and time again, and defense just don't know what to do.
Same versions of stick, just using motion and formations and fast motion from the running back, and it's almost like hey, look over here and bow, right in the face.
Is this you, Tatum, or you, Coach Johnson?
Do what?
Is this
Coach Tatum?
Okay,
it's my fat butt right there.
Is it this North Rowan or is this Walkertown?
This is Walkertown. This was last year. This was against a team, and my one of my best friends in the coaching profession is the head coach of this team. So I hate showing this, but I have to. So this is an unbalanced set. That's a tight end, three receivers, right? My 5 on the backside, all ineligible, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
What school is this?
Count them 5. Okay, it's been Michael, because Tony's no longer the head coach there, so I can say this. So this has been Michael High School. So,
Tony McCants.
Tony McCants.
Is that
not calling the defense? He was not calling the defense this night. So
I was about to say, I don't think he would do this.
So that is 5. That's 5 guys to my 3 ineligible guys on the backside of the play.
I'll say, brother, you better not do that Southern Allen, man, because they'll find. You already know about that place, brother.
Yeah. He was not. He's an offensive. He's offensive lineman. So, yeah, we just ran over there.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that was to tie the game with like 9 seconds left. But yeah, that was. I don't know what I literally gave him. I gave him a couple of weeks. And I was like, "What the heck was that?" He was like, and that's my defensive coordinator. So anyway, that's a balance. And if you're not on the unbalanced train, you need to figure out how you can incorporate it into your program.
Or that is 4x0, man. That's the new trend.
That is one thing that we're going to work into our. I'm hitting my first year as running game coordinator, so that's one thing we are going to work in is unbalanced run game stuff, because I played high school football in North Carolina. I know what it looks like there. I'm now in Illinois. The defenses are so basic here, man. What you see.
You guys only get 5 days in the summer, like Wisconsin. You only get a certain amount of contact time in the summer.
It's weird, man. Yeah. So it's like no joke. You're not going to see any bluff blitzes.
Yep.
You're not if you see one safety high, you're seeing cover 3 because everybody is so scared to play damn man coverage here. So you're like, okay, how do you beat cover 3?
So for the person that asked that about why I pressed, now Tatum, you're seeing. I mean, it's what you see is what you get, man. Especially after COVID, it's basic. Like if they're going to teach them, they're probably drawing it up on the sideline, because you only get 5 days up in Wisconsin. And I was the head coach there, and that was the frustrating part. I'm like, I'm going to bring this Southern mentality up there. No, and here's the thing, they will report you. If any of your rival schools, which they're all close together, as soon as they hear it, they will report you. I got reported about 5 times my first year.
Yeah.
If you are talking, if you even whisper one bit of football knowledge, and it's not one of your contact days that you have to report to the state, they will report you in the neighboring schools.
Yeah, it's like if you say 2 words here, spring ball or the word mandatory,
you're
gonna have to sit down with the athletic director.
Hey, coach,
what's up?
That's man? That's 3 words. You confusing me over here. You said spring ball's 2 words.
2 phrases. Say 2 phrases, not 2 words.
Because look, You said 2 words, and I'm like, okay, spring ball. I was like, God.
Hey, haven't you seen the Patrick Mahomes commercial? You just bundle them.
That's exactly. Look, that's how you know. That's how you know I went to high school in North Carolina.
Hey, baby.
And you were saying,
hey, buddy. Hey, we're the worst education in the state, apparently, and we are the lowest paid teachers. It all works out.
Hey, but I tell you what, man. Once Friday night rolls around, I bet everybody's sitting in them stands.
I would love to say, man,
look, you're good.
Basketball. Basketball. They'll be saying for some reason we're slowing down that football train, buddy. I don't know. It's not quite as I wouldn't say we're not there. We're not Friday Night Lights yet.
Yeah.
Johnson,
got the question about formations?
Off the top of your head, how many
Oh, Tatum, let's see. Oh, goodness. So is this like basic formations, or is this with tags? Or is this what the defensive coordinator would see?
The defensive coordinator. Let's see. On Sunday, he's having a chart.
What the DCCs?
All right, y'all talk. Give me a minute.
Hey.
All right, so let me just give you a basic. So if we're in a 4, what people would consider spread. All right, here's what we can do with spread. We go our normal spread. We can stack it. Okay, we can go tight. We can go tight stack. All right, now when we talk about, so that's what 5 ways right there. Okay, now if you go into when we have our H back, we'll line them up at either wing. We can line them up at either sniffer. We can line them up in the backfield and have 2 backs. Then you mess around with that, and we can have on the 2 receiver side, they can be stacked. All right. Then if you go trips, we'll trip stack it, we'll bunch it, we'll tight bunch it, we'll tight stack it. Then you go to our trio with the trips nub. We'll go trips nub stack, we'll go trips nub bunch, we'll go trips nub bunch tight. All right. And then you add all those where the running back can be lined up right or left. I would say.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things we did last year is having tags for positions. So just for example, we tag our H. So if we want the H to be in the left or right sniffer positions, it's a color, right? And so being able to implement that color real easy with any formation we want, right?
We use animals.
Animals. So yeah, so we can do that with the tailback. We can do it with the H. We can do it with the Z. Because those are the ones that primarily are off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So that it takes whatever your base formation is, and now you can literally get into 3 new variations based off of a color. Then of course you have to rep it, and in case you have to understand it, but that is what it is. So, but yeah, and then you bring in motions to create new formations are huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How much with your trip nub stuff, Coach Johnson, are you making the tight end a sniffer? Not a sniffer, but where he's off the line of scrimmage.
He wouldn't be able to unless we went unbalanced.
Unbalanced, and you put another wide receiver on the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, so if he's going to be off, because if you're saying nub and that tight end, what we do with our tight end is our H back. If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
So if we go trips nub, he's out there, and then we have 3 receivers on the other side. Are you talking about if we went with the nub and then 2 receivers and then an H back?
No. So I noticed with that tape that you just showed, Coach Tatum, your tight end was on the line of scrimmage, right?
Yeah.
What if you put him off the tackle's hip? Would you have to put another wide receiver on the line of scrimmage so you could still run your GH 2 to 3? Yeah,
you'd have to have 7 on the line. So yeah, you'd have to have one of the guys come on if he's going off. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I got to get used to with the formation stuff that you guys are talking about, because I know exactly what it is that we're going to run, but I want to take our 4 base formations and stack it and condense it like Shanahan type stuff. And
so this is that formation that was on the film. If to say if you were going to put him in a wing, he'd have to step on, or one of them would have to step on. I would probably step him on. So but if you want them to be off, then you have to have your 7 guys. And I did a unbalanced clinic, so I had all these. This right here this is really good, moving your tackle over because then everybody gets to stay eligible. And still technically trips nub, but now you're just moving your tackle to the backside, which is so really good.
And I'm telling you, another big cheat code, not just with the unbalance, is if you find a way to bunch and stack your receivers, people go, they're either going to say, well, we're not going to let you beat us, and we're going to send 4 over 3 or 3 over 2, depending on your stack or your bunch. Thank you. I mean, all right, well, that's fine. You can have that sandbox. I'm going to go win the one in the trenches and the one, so stacks and bunches, people don't like those.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can take away my quick screen. I'm just going to run the ball.
Yeah. That's big thing. Like, especially if they get to the point where they're not going to put a guy over the ineligible guy.
Yep.
Well, now you just like gain a +1 with a blocker for your screen to say like what coach is saying. I put this one on here for my flex bone guys, so they can still get unbalanced. So I mean, if you look at it, I mean, shoot, they bring this motion around here, right, and then they go rocket toss to the right, and they got numbers. I mean, but it's like I love unbalanced, man. Like this. I want, man. I want to get to a point where I can run this box formation.
I got one. Washington ran it a lot this year. It was like I'm going to call it box tight, and then they ran pin and pull to it because if you don't have numbers, I mean, think about it. If you bring them in tight right there, Tatum, think about how there's no way you can have numbers to stop that.
Hey, Coach Johnson, when we talk about the tempo, you know the real way to fuck people up
is tempo with the unbalance.
No, so here's what we do.
That's beautiful, man.
So we call it. Well, I'll DM you what we call it, Coach. But what it is so it's an automatic call. So
we have that too.
Yeah. So we go one play, and then we line up, and the very next play is unbalanced right behind it, and it's automatic, and it gets everybody. Because here's the biggest thing: you're not like
you're not playing against the coaches; you're playing against the kids.
Exactly, and like. High schoolers are going to be high schoolers, right? Like at some point, you don't know the formate. Like they're not seeing it. Like, bro, it was to the point, I swear to goodness, like Tatum, when you lined up that last formation, bro, it happened to us in a playoff game. And I tried to stop it. I told the coach to call a timeout. Bro, they go unbalanced and they put the fucking tackle out wide. And he had never been
ninja formation from Lee.
But they put him in the trips. So they had the tackle as the point of the trips, had the Y and the Z outside of him, had the X on the backside, and then they had a tight end on the ball on the backside with the X. And I was like, call the timeout. Because the safety's rolling over and the backside safety is rolling. And I'm like, no, don't line up on it. And I was like, call a timeout. Bro, they threw a 60-yard bomb down the middle of the field because the middle safety ran over to the trips. And the backside safety was caught on the 2 because he seen there was a tight end and it was a backside X. And they were confused. And because they ran it so fast, boy, right down the middle of the field.
And there's that's like when we're talking about the X or the chalk talk. That's like sometimes that brings me back to some people would call, in this situation, I'll call that play. I'm like, no, you aren't.
Right.
Like, you ain't calling that like on, like that. You know how long they had to practice that to make sure everybody lined up right, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Dude, and then you got to worry about refs. Talking about refs, we had our second game of the year. Our tight end had 2 touchdowns brought back because we ran what we call tray, which is a trips with your tight end on the ball. And our guys are 3 or 4 yards off the freaking ball, and they still said that they were on the ball and that it was illegal touching. And I'm like, dude, calm. I'm like, I really think that we need all of them to where not like review, but like, here's a screenshot of the play. Can I please show the ref this? Like, we're 3 or 4 yards off the ball, and we love to do it because people don't see them, and we'll run away from them and hit a pop pass because we'll do block, bubble, and then a pop, and so that opens up a little hole. And yeah, we had 2 touchdowns brought back on that in week 2. And it was just like, man, I'm
Well, did
telling
you
you
see?
what.
That's what's funny is like, so Steve Wilkes got fired, right? Obviously, because he sucks as a coach, right? That's what everybody's saying. And then one of the things they said, coach, they go, yeah, because Bosa ran down on an insert with the pool when Pat Mahomes ran for the first down. And they were like, they weren't prepared. I was like, yeah, they weren't prepared for a play that was ran fucking twice all year long. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Or maybe it's just Andy Reid is a savvy old vet and knows people better than anybody else. Just like Corn Dog was the original. Like, did you hear how he run at the 1
He wanted to run the
hour?
shovel.
He wanted to run the shovel, and he just tagged Corn Dog to say, "Oh, they're just gonna run because they know we played it." So he didn't even think it was gonna work, and he was like, "They went man and didn't match it." Like
And the worst thing is, don't you think against the Chiefs, you would have taken away that cheetah motion, the zipper motion? That would have been the first thing you would take away, right?
that's that. I'm just like, man. But even and this is like to put it all together. Being an OC, like I'm not an OC, but my OC, I'm with, man. We're locked step in step, like. And with him is we're going to be who he is when the game's on the line. Like we don't run from that. And I think that's why Andy Reid is so great is because the Chiefs are the Chiefs no matter what. Like Andy Reid in the biggest plays, you're going to get that zipper. And then the openness that he will explain exactly what the play name is. I don't think that gets talked about enough because
Yeah.
I loved how he broke it down. Like, here's the zipper, here's this play. Normally, we don't give a lot of single play action, but this is one of them. Like, I loved it, man. And it's like,
And now you got Tatum up here being Andy Reid wizardy right here.
Hey man, empty with an H it could be its own offense. I don't care what anybody says.
It really sucks for us because we put that in against Cummings, and on the first play we ran fake jet with QB Buck with our H as a wing and pinned down 40 yards. We're down inside the 15, and our quarterback messes his hamstring up. So imagine we would have kept doing that all night long, man. You're right. That empty with that H as a sniffer or as a wing, not even fair.
If I had your dudes, Johnson.
Oh yeah, don't worry.
Throw that pop, bro.
Oh yeah, we
Trust me, nobody in your conference outside of North Moore can stop that anyway. So I ain't worried about nobody listening.
Yeah, man, they're.
Did you say Northmore?
Yeah, dude, brother.
They're new Northmore, coach. New Northmore.
They have the entire town. They do RPO, run people over. They are nasty. They're mean. They're feared.
Because I know what you're thinking about, Coach Rice. I know what you're thinking about. Like they were awful, but since the pandemic, they're good. They're the truth.
Hey boy, they was recruit. They was out there recruit.
No, it's not recruiting. It's they bought into the town. They're mean. They're nasty. What they reminds me of, if you go look up Coach Conduti at Fulshear in Texas, they just want to be hated. That's what they do. They're just nasty. They're gonna line up like no splits, just 11 people in the box. They're gonna run, 3 yards here, 4 yards here, and they're just gonna beat you down. I mean, trust me, I know. We had them and they just wore us down. They got a big 6'7", 6'8" kid that they'll put at quarterback and run gun single wing and just run it downhill, man.
That is just so, Coach, what you're explaining. So Whitfield, which is Western PA football, which is some of the best football. Joe Dan Marino, all these legends. I ain't gonna bore you with the names, but that's like if you don't run a football in November, December, like you're not winning a championship. Like, and for us, man, like I want to go under center, but there's no way. Like our ROC is a spread guy, and I'm like, under center is so much fun, and it creates, especially because when you go 12 personnel and you add a tight end. I hate when there's OCs who are scared to add a tight end because it creates an extra 2 people. But I'm like, but it also creates an extra fucking gap for people to mess up. Like, so many people are only worried about the extra guys that it adds, but they don't realize, like, defensive coordinators, they don't have an answer for everything. Like, they're so reactionary. And that's why when I hear OCs talk, if you're an OC who says, oh, well, I'm just trying to out scheme, I'm like, I don't really like that. Like, because a lot of the OCs, they just talk about attacking the defense. Like, we ain't trying to out scheme. Like, fuck that. No, we're gonna make you wrong. Like, we're gonna make sure we're gonna out formation you. We're gonna give you a lot of motions, a lot of stuff that is eye candy. Like, for instance, we ran our H back spinner, like him going behind the formation. We probably ran it the entire year. He never got the ball
They still
the
react
entire
to him.
year, and they fell for it. When I tell you, coach, he did not touch from the spinner. He did not get a pass. He didn't get a catch. He didn't do anything.
They're just waiting for that one moment.
That was our play. That they're like, oh, they're gonna, DCs are like, oh, they're gonna give you this look, and here's what's gonna happen. Nah, bro, that was his play off. Like, he literally got, because we're no huddle, so we also have it to where we have signals for our guy to literally not run a route, like, because we want him to be like, all right, give it everything you got, and then when you get this signal, we're not gonna run you on a route, but then that very next play, we're taking a shot with you. So, like, just stand there. Like, and people used to like line him up, and it's literally just a waste of space because the safety is like, all right, he's inside. I'm gonna play 10 yards off the ball. I got him man to man. He's not going on a route. So now we're just gonna pick on the safety because you're gonna pay attention to our guy who is literally just standing there like a dummy, not even doing anything.
And so you just kind of said something exactly why, like, there's a difference between the air raid and the power raid. Is you just said is people are, a lot of the air raid coaches were scared of putting in that H-back tight end type guy, where now, like, you're kind of not cool if you don't use an H-back or tight end. But then people, they want to criticize and say, oh, then you're a power spread. No, I'm trying to throw the ball. Like, I'll show the stats. We passed him way more. We could have ran it more, but I want to throw the ball. But why would I not use an H-back or a tight end if it gives me an advantage, especially in the run game or and then you throw that in there and do a quarterback run game. I think that's the biggest one. People ask me, like, what the difference is the amount of different personnel we use. He can be considered a receiver, but I've showed Coach Tatum. I was like, he ain't just a receiver, man. He'll put somebody on their butt. Like, he's a big boy. I mean, he's 235, 6'3", 235, and freaking can lift a freaking house. And that's the difference between me and, like, I guess my younger self of just an air raid guy is you can't be scared of using that H-back type kid that will put a freaking his helmet into your face mask because it's going to give you an advantage, and you could still run everything you want. Because think about it, you have one receiver on stick where you're either running an arrow or a bubble. Why not use an H-back then? Because then if you're going fast, the next play you bring them in and you run counter. All right, if you're running mesh, if you're doing that mesh the old school way, you got that H-back and just run an arrow. What's wrong with putting a big 6'2" guy that can run 235? But instead and so I think that's the biggest one is just the different personnel we use and not scared of using our personnel.
Do you like running your mesh with your H, or will you go?
Oh, yeah, we run, our big boy will run the mesh because people fear him. When it's a big body, they fear that collision. And guess what? When they do collide, now all of a sudden what we do is we set it from the right. And so if he's coming through and he's supposed to be the one that's going over the top, well, they see him and they fear him and they're going to go over by him. And now all of a sudden there it is wide open through there. And there's just something about big bodies. Linebackers want to just show that they're the freaking alphas and that they're meatheads. And so you use that big body, he's just a freaking decoy. And then after a while, they're not going to want to hit him anymore. And now he's wide open. I can't wait, honestly, to get my wife's going to edit my video for me and then post that mesh because that's exactly what we did. Using him as a freaking mesh weapon, man. I mean, it's dirty.
I think, yeah, coach, because for us, so I've never had, so what we actually did, we took our 6'3", 210 wide receiver who, he's a D1 guy, and we moved him to tight end. And my God, you want to talk about a nightmare? Because then what we started doing was we would go empty and have him as the single receiver on the backside, knowing that they were going to double him. Because if you go one-on-one with him, he's going up and getting it, and he can run. So you want to talk about creating a nightmare? And again, that's why teams like I'll show you, Coach Johnson. You're one of my favorite guys. Like I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, but we
Oh,
can
I
hop
do.
on a Zoom because I'll show you. I'm not a big, as much as it sounds like I know pass game stuff. I'm literally just the off the line coach that you love. Like I don't know shit about the secondary, but it's like it's fun because me being a run game guy, like I'm like, man, I literally got to the point where at the end of the year, bro, I was telling our coach, like, yo, coach, if we do this, like, because again, one of the teams we had, teams would run out 34 defense and they would blitz all seven. And I'm like, so I went to our coach and right at the end of the first quarter, I'm like, coach, do you notice they're blitzing the mic with us every time? He was like, yeah, why? I was like, what if we run our running backs out wide? That opens up the middle of the field. There's nobody there. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, watch, fake, because fake him out there. The mic is going to, he don't give a fuck about the play. He has the running back. Like, and if the running back stays in protection, he blitzes. If the running back goes out, he goes out with him. Let's move that motherfucker out outside wide. We can either throw it to him or we can just make him do nothing and open up the middle. And so we were attacking people. And actually, so game on the line, we got like 48 seconds. We call a draw play, but we sent the motion to our sent the running back out. It now became 5-on-5. They call a holding call on our left tackle when we scored. Quarterback throws the interception the next play. But was it a whole? Yeah, like my tackle got beat off the ball, and instead of him flipping his hands open, he grabbed him with the outside under the pad, and he's just like running him. And the dude, like I was like, ref, like my thing was, I understand he held him, but the defensive end knew he was beat. It was one thing if like he cut back and my guy was holding him with the inside as he's trying to peel back for the bro. He ran upfield, and I was like, my tackle was a sophomore. All he had to do was flip his hand inside, and it's a touchdown. Like, and there's nothing. But it was so much fun because I'm like, yo, I was really calling plays to like manipulate the defense. Because again, I look at it as the run game, and I'm like Coach Rice, you're the run game stuff. So you like to see, all right, here's what they're doing, but then after that, you start to be like, okay, well, I can help my OC out because I'm like, yo, like I know what they're going to do. I'm telling you, this is no bullshit. And so what we would do with what we started doing with our tight end was he's our 8. Like we use him as like the H back that you're talking about, but we just call him our T. We would move him and we would go like toss motion where on a clap he'll go in motion, get people to jump because the guys are dumb, or like we'll go on a clap, he'll go in motion, then we'll go counter right back. So the safety is like trying to roll coverage and then unroll coverage, and they don't know how to communicate that, so then they're unfitted. Or we would just send him like we did so much fun stuff. But again, like it's real basic. Like when the coach talked about how many formations do we have, bro, we really got 6 formations. Not tag included, we have 6 formations. The tags are the easy part for us. Like I feel like you, Coach Johnson, like it's so much easier to add a tag.
Yeah.
But the base formation for the guys to understand like how to run mesh out of this formation in every variation possible, like against cover 2, against cover 4, against cover 3, like that's the more challenging part for our guys. And it's like, but once they get it, man, it becomes scary because we had a call where we were running, like you said, we were running mesh against zone. And bro, our guys like instead of the H, like he knows he has the pick route, but if they're in zone, he's like, all right, I'm gonna just run to get him to stay in match me.
Oh,
He got too hyped up. There he is.
yeah,
There you go.
Oh, did I exit? My bad.
Yeah,
You're
you
good.
crashed.
I don't know what part you
You
heard.
said, what did you have drawn up? Coach Tatum, you had something drawn up over there, man.
No, I don't got out now. It was just freaking smoke go. That's all it was.
Dude,
My down smoke and go, man. That's lethal.
You like have the X be behind the stat guy that's ineligible, and then the eligible guy just goes and does, and then he doesn't go downfield, but he's acting like he's faking, like he's blocking, and they trigger, and then he's just up the sideline.
Yeah, we're adding that slot stack this year, and then we're also going to add to where we can have our H still in the slot, and we'll stack the 2 outside receivers.
Do you run any slants in your?
Do I run slants?
Do you run any slants?
I mean, when we get down the red zone, yeah. Or if it's a backside RPO.
What do you think about the stack on going 2x2, stacking both of them and going slants with the guys that are stacked to get 2 free releases?
So, and I even had some of the coaches I have on my staff say that, as simple as you think that sounds for us, like that's, kind of talking about, having that Frankenstein playbook is if in order for us to do that is then you got to practice it where, right now, the only time we do that is for an RPO read. And then out of a stack with that slant is we teach them the snag. But the biggest one with the slant is the only time we have our quarterback really throw it is off that backside, and he's kind of riding and throwing. And so it's a newer throw. But you can easily do that. Yeah, you're right. But for me, I used to run a lot of slants, but now I've just it's such an iffy one, man. It's just if you miss the wrong window, it's a pick six just waiting to happen.
I think putting those reps in the mesh is
dude,
definitely
the reps
better.
In the mesh, like by the end of the year, and I don't even know, but I have a feeling that people were probably talking about having to defend us. Is the answer is not playing man, and kind of like you asked and Coach Brown said is if our running back stayed in, people were going to blitz. And so we just stopped. He didn't pass pro anymore. We just said, no, you're going to run a swing or you're going to run a wheel because we were just tired of them just blitzing. That's great. You can withstand it for so much. But guess what? So when he would stay in, he would go 1,001 and then release. And I can't tell you how many times we just threw a little swing route because there's no way there.
I got to head off for tonight, coaches, but I really appreciate you guys bringing me on, and I'm sure I'll be in touch with y'all.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Appreciate you. Thanks, Coach.
Right.
Yeah, Tatum was getting late for us. It's almost time for me.
Yeah,
I looked up there and I was like 2 hours. I was like, woof.
Hey, man. And it's good, and especially when you're growing up stuff. I was just being dumb with some stuff. I was trying to, I don't know, and we don't have to stay on, but I was trying to find the crunch play. You ever heard of crunch?
Yeah. Where the H-back is the one that's doing the trap.
Yeah. So the H-back will heel trap, guard will trap. Like it's like double trap, almost triple trap sometimes. I was trying to find that. We used to run that a little bit when I was in Virginia. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of the name now. They ran the double trap. His dad was a coach. He's now a coach at NC Wesleyan. Coach Clark? No. I can't remember, but they run double trap. They run that double trap and they use the H and they would do a double trap with that. I'm trying to think what his name was because he also was on there, the Ron Mackey channel with Coach Singleton, who's at Asheville. And that's where I remember seeing that. I was like, man, that double trap is that's nasty. And then he's like, oh, if you really want to mess people up, add an H-back, and he's the backside trap. I was like, oh, that's
So I was at
it's nasty against our front.
I was at the Steelers OTAs, and they have a play where their wham is called rat, but then they have the wham influence, which is called cheese. And that's what you're talking about, Coach Johnson, where they give you the trap, but then they give you the backside, the H on the backside of it, down blocking the end. Oh my goodness. And they ran it. The Steelers had a lot of success with it this year. It's going to be interesting to see how they switch with Arthur Smith. I'm real excited to see what they do, but we better draft Jackson Power Johnson, or it don't matter what we got.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us.
What's your you got a YouTube channel?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's at Coach Mitch Johnson.
All right, if you can DM me, because man, we gonna have some fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely
go. Hold on, let me pull this up. Hold on, go.
My
and
fiance
make sure
just bought
we
me.
Subscribe to him.
My fiance just bought me the Play Callers Club notebook.
The one play a day by Dan Casey. Yeah, man, that's good. That's
I probably gonna be doing one play a day because it's all gonna be off of the line run stuff, and I'm trying to expand myself. So
yeah, I would definitely challenge you, man. If you want to get better, man. If you see something, just draw it up and try to understand why they ran it. what the purpose was, and then if you have a way of seeing what ended up happening, that's the best way to do it, man. But yeah, that's the YouTube channel. Thanks, Coach Tatum. You're doing a better job than I am at marketing myself.
Hey man, this was a very dope video. His
I appreciate
Q&A.
that, man.
I need to do one because you nailed that. It was really good. He's got like 700 shorts. I told my wife, I said, I am terrible at doing shorts, man. I need to get them, step it up.
That's because my wife will be on me, man. She's like, dude, all you gotta do is go outside and film for like 10, 15 seconds, and you have a bunch of things to talk about. And I was just like, you're right. But
yeah, I get monologuing, so like I have to edit mine down.
She's yelled at me about that one too, man.
Yeah. Well, guys, appreciate everybody for hanging out. Again, make sure if we can get guys to go in here and check out Counterculture Podcast. I'm pulling up all my stuff, but anyway, pull right here. Pull up episode 4. I think we had a lot of fun with it. I feel like 3 was our best we did so far, but episode 4 was a lot of fun because we got into film and into X's and O's and really got to talking about counter and yeah, man. And I tried to get Rappin to come hang out with us tonight, but he's getting ready for this week, being head coaching duties, and it is what it is. But he said he'll catch us on the next one. But Coach, I appreciate all you guys coming and hanging out with us and talking a little ball, and like it was a little bit of an impromptu live stream, but it is what it is. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you are watching this at another time, because it's going to be on the channel forever, and we'll all be state championship head coaches one day, and this will be 2024, and we'll look back and be like, remember we were talking about plays?
So, hey, all y'all gotta do, hey, Coach Johnson and Tatum, all y'all gotta do is ever just call me and ask me, do y'all want to talk, man? Y'all know what's up. Just let me know. And Coach Johnson, you gonna come on a young ball coach? We got you.
All right, brother. Sounds good to me, man.
You do need to, yes. Yeah. Let's see. Also, Coach Johnson, Rappin Nick texted me earlier and it was like, we need to get you on Counterculture. So you come and be one of our special guests, because we have this week, a little shout out and a little preview. We have a guest coming on. I don't think we've said it yet, but we have a guest coming on, but then probably do a normal one. So then the next week, probably episode that'll be 7 at that point. Episode 7, we'll try to get you on.
Just let me know, man. I'm down. Can't wait to go embarrass myself at the playbook clinics, and then I'll get it back up on the YouTube channel, baby.
Heck yeah, man. Hey, Coach, be good, and we'll be talking and you texting and whatever.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Yeah, man. You too. See y'all guys.